Of the show for today. We're talking to Mr. Edwin Sanders, who is the gubernatorial candidate for the state of Tennessee. And of course, Mr. Sanders, before we end the show for today, let's give you an opportunity to say a few more words about your platform and to devote most of this last segment to why you believe that you ought to be the governor of the state of Tennessee. You've laid out a platform, but and about how you've been received throughout the state of Tennessee, because we know that you've been very, very busy. You've been from one end of the state to the other, and you're a difficult man to catch up with. But you are here now, and let's talk about it from that perspective.
All right. I think perhaps the other two platform issues that I would be remiss if I didn't include would be, one, the whole issue of safe communities. And just to talk a little bit more about that, one of the things that we realize is that there's a pattern that we need to address right now that we can address with regard to how we can make our communities safer. We're very much committed to making sure that persons who come into the criminal justice system come out of that system better than when they came in. Little attention right now is being given to rehabilitation. Little attention is being given to making sure that people who come out of, say, our institutions of correction, 90% of the people who go in come out, and many of them go in with substance abuse problems, many of them go in with lack of job skills and the like. So we hope that what we will begin to do in this state is to make sure that we use that time of incarceration as a time that ends up enhancing the possibility of those persons being able to come out and be productive citizens. The other thing that I think is important to mention is just environment. We realize that one of the things that all of us share is the environment, and we have to be responsible. We have to make sure that in terms of how we deal with the interests of business as well as the general public, that we always have clean water, that we always have clean air, and that we don't in any way compromise that for any short-term gain that might be there in terms of some of the business development that goes on. We have to respect businesses, but at the same time work with businesses to make sure that their activity doesn't translate into anything that ends up poisoning or creating toxins in the atmosphere. And the last few minutes, let me just tell you, it's important for me to have this opportunity to step forward and to be the governor of the state of Tennessee. We plan to win. I mean, we've done the analysis, we've done the statistics, we've done the demographics. We've looked at what it takes to be successful. One of the things that I believe very strongly, one of the questions I get all the time is that people say to me, well, do you think Tennessee is ready to elect an African American as governor? I think that the people in this state are sufficiently knowledgeable. I think that they're sufficiently able and capable of looking at the issues that they will be able to discern for themselves who is speaking to their interest the best. We intend to speak to the needs of the people of this state in a way that will allow them not to in any way be bogged down in issues of race or the things that have historically fragmented and divided us. When we look at the great problems of this state, when we look at the urban centers in the Southwest, when we look at the rural and small towns in the Northeast, one of the things that we see over and over again is the problems are the same. The complexions of the people might sometimes be different, but the problems end up being the same. They need better schools in Haywood County. They need better schools in Greene County. They need better health care in Sullivan County. They need better health care in Fayette County. We need the same things, but too often we end up allowing ourselves to be fragmented and divided and not looking at all as being one people. There are some counties that are very successful in the way in which they've been able to develop their school systems, to be able to develop opportunities for employment and that kind of thing. We want that to happen for the entire state. People who live in the smallest county and the least populated counties and the people who live in the most well-populated counties. The other thing that really I'm excited about is being able to provide leadership for this state. I have a tradition, I have a history of being able to build consensus with people. I have a history of being able to build coalitions. I have a history of helping people to understand how we can bring to bear our collective energy and resource in order to solve tough problems. And that's the thing that I want to offer up to this state. And I'm excited about having this opportunity to do it. There are a lot of people who I have found increasingly every day kind of catching the vision and the enthusiasm and the excitement that's being generated around this candidacy is really something. So I expect within the next 6.5 months, we'll be able to touch all 95 counties. We'll be able to touch the urban. We'll be able to touch the rural. We'll be able to touch the large. We'll be able to touch the small. We'll touch men. We'll touch women. We'll touch black folk. We'll touch white folk. We'll touch those who are educated, those who are uneducated. We'll touch everybody in this state. And I'm convinced that we'll be able to ignite within them some excitement about this candidacy. And November the 5th, which is election day, we intend to be victorious. Some people said, well, you don't have enough money. But the fact is, it's the vote that matters. November the 5th is the great day of equality in this state. It doesn't make any difference how much money you have or how much education you have. When you go behind that curtain, when you pull that lever, when you make that mark, when you do what you have to do to cast your vote, it means that you have the power at that moment to help define the future of this state. So we're trying to carry that message to everyone. We might not have as much money as some other candidates, but I do know that we have the right message. I do know that we are able to touch the hearts and the minds of the people of this state. And I am convinced that November the 5th, that we're going to see a groundswell of response, and that we're going to see hundreds and thousands of people who are going to vote Ed Sanders for governor. And it will be a new day. We'll find ourselves at a point in history that we will be able to look at and to look back upon for centuries to come and be able to say it was a turning point. It was a moment when we were able to turn Tennessee in the direction that put it back in touch with its high ideals. We're renewing the spirit of Tennessee.
Very good. And of course, Mr. Sanders, let me thank you for bringing that excellent information about your candidacy by and giving it to our audience today. I'm sure that they are certainly impressed by your efforts